Alrighty, today we will be going over equal highs and lows. This will be a pretty short lesson, but I mean it's pretty simple. We'll be going over relative equal highs and lows as well. I did just pass a whole bunch of Apex accounts too. I passed like 4 out of 10, which is pretty nice. So adding more funding to the funding is always nice. But let's go ahead and get right into it. What are equal lows and equal highs and so on and so forth? So I actually have an indicator for this. It's literally just called equal highs and lows. It's very simple. Equal highs and lows by out of options. It's kind of a cool name. But essentially, as you guys see, this line right here marks out equal highs and lows. These yellow lines that you see on my screen. So let's go to the higher time frame and see if we can find any equal highs or lows. Okay, we have some up here. Doing on the 4 hour. Still have that one. See, do we have any others? Not really. Maybe go to the 15 minute. 15 minute. No, not really. Not too many. But usually the reason you don't see any is because most of the time they get taken, and that's what we're going to get into in this lesson. So what are equal highs and lows? Well, it's pretty self-explanatory. If we do something like this, 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 and then come back here and then go back down and just like trickle around, right? These would be your equal highs. It's pretty simple. They're literally, as the name states, equal highs. They, to the tick, are the same exact high within price, and that's essentially it. They are just highs or lows that are at the same exact price in the chart, and essentially these act as very strong magnet points. So for example here, right, if we have these equal highs resting here, what would I assume out of the market? Well, maybe look for like a fair value gap here, wait for it to get inversed. Boom, literally all you have to do is just target these equal highs as your target, and this would honestly be a great trade. Literally off rip, these equal highs or lows, the amount of times that they are taken is probably like 99.9%, right? If there's a reason when I go to the 1 hour or 4 hour, we do not see any equal highs and lows, and that's because they've already been taken. Obviously, we have one resting here, but most of the time, whenever these are formed, they are taken almost within either the same day or the next day, and they do happen pretty often. Equal highs and lows are probably one of my favorite targets to target just because of how high probability they are. They consistently get drawn to, they consistently perform, and they're usually really nice. My favorite ones are probably the 15 minute. So like if we're in on a session, right, we come into the morning session, it's 9:30, and let's say this is like 9:30 price right here. This is 9:30, and let's just say hypothetically these are equal lows. And on the 15 minute, we have like a fair value gap right here. If these both get inversed, this is the easiest target I've ever seen. I would take these equal lows 9 out of 10 times. It's going to be pretty obvious that they get taken, especially once like price starts to play out. I will take those lows every single time. I mean, equal lows. Wait, hold on. Where's the chat? Oh, wait, you guys aren't even on the chat. Equal highs and lows, they are probably one of the best confluences you can take just like targeting wise, and they're probably one of my favorite things to look for when trading. I mean, they're very self-explanatory, but it kind of just adds, I should have probably added that maybe to the daily bias video yesterday, but if you're coming in, the sessions aren't there, but there's equal highs or lows, on the 15 minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, if you find 4 hour equal lows, or equal highs, you better be taking those as your bias, because those are probably one of the best ones you can get. But even hourly equal highs or lows are really, really good, and then 15 minute are also really good, and then sort of 5 minute are really good too. But most of the time, if we have a 15 minute equal low, probably also have a 5 minute equal low. But there are times where these aren't really the best. Like if we go down to the 1 minute, notice how many equal lows and equal highs we have, right? Equal lows, equal lows, equal lows, equal lows, right? They're kind of all over the place, and usually the 1 minute isn't as strong, right? You want the 5 minute and the 15 minute equal highs or lows, just because those will be the most probable. And as you guys see here, right, these equal lows are just like two candles right next to each other that make equal lows, or same with this, right? These are so-so, right? You don't really want that. You want, unless it's on the 15 minute, right? If it's on the 15 minute, then you got to remember that that's 30 minutes worth of candles. So the candles there's 30 candles within the 15 minute, but on the 5 minute too, those also can work. But on the 1 minute, you do not want to see that. If this is the 5 or 15 minute, yes, these are good. It will probably draw to this. But if it's on the 1 minute or anything below the 5 minute, you don't really want those. If you're on the 1 minute looking for these, the most ideal is if we have like kind of the example I had before, right, where price does here, then we trickle back up to there, and then we're kind of like dancing around, right? These would be your good equal lows, or good equal highs, right? You wouldn't really want equal highs to be like two candles right next to each other, right? Like that's not really as probable. You would want a range to then reject out of that high and then push back, create those equal highs, and then we have a range, and now that's a good look to go for. But this is if this is the 15-minute or the 5-minute, again, remember, this range alone, if they're equal to each other in like 2 candles, it's gonna look more like this, right? Most of the time it's gonna be like this, but that's why you have the smaller time frame, so you can see, okay, we have the 5-minute and 15-minute equal lows or equal highs. You can then come down to the 1 minute and see, okay, this is what the 1 minute looks like, giving us these equal highs or lows. Okay, this looks good. I will then eventually wait for a setup to these highs or lows. And then again, same thing to the other side, right? Same thing goes with if it's equal lows. You'd want equal lows to be looking like this, rather than this is the 1 minute chart and you're like, oh, those are equal lows, I'm taking that. That's not really what you want. So that's really honestly about it. Equal highs and lows, really the main thing is they're very high probability. You don't want them on the lower time frame. You want them on the 5-minute and above. And I mean, that's really it. Obviously, even the 10-minute works. Let's see, we have like 10-minute equal lows here. No, not really. So really anything like that is probably your best bet. So I'd recommend, if you want to start looking for these, go ahead and just grab the indicator. It's so much easier to use the indicator, just because they will just point them out for you. You don't have to go looking for them, because I can't tell you the amount of times I would probably just miss equal highs or lows, because just price is just price. Like, you're not really like, I'm not going to go in, analyze to the exact tick. Oh my gosh, okay, yeah, these are equal highs. Like, see, even right here, that was probably equal highs. We can go on back. It's just going to be hard for you to analyze, right? You'd rather just have something that points it out for you, because like right here, I probably wouldn't even assume those are equal lows, but as you see, indicator gives it to us for his indicator gives it for us, so it makes the process a whole lot easier. That's also why I use the fair value gap indicator. It just shows me the fair value gap, so I don't have to go in and like waste energy and time looking for all the fair value gaps. It just gives me them for me. It just makes the process a lot easier. But then now let's also talk about relative equal highs and lows. So relative equal highs and lows, we'll do lows for example, since we did highs a lot last example. Relative is when we have, it's not exact, right? ICT has talked about this. It's not to the exact price, but it's very close, right? So we have something like this, where it's very close to equal lows, but it's not just there. Those are just as strong. They're not as strong as equal lows, but they are also still very strong. These can act as a very good draw as well. Again, ICT has talked about these as well. I mean, you can get a very clean setup, maybe wait for like a liquidity sweep, we get this, get your inverse, and boom, you can target these lows, and even just target this low if you choose, right? Relative equal lows and highs are just as good, but equal highs are always going to be the best, because they're just exact, and it means orders are they're in the exact same spot, so most likely price is going to go take out the orders, just like how I explained early on in the boot camp how the algorithm works. It's essentially orders must take orders to take orders, right? So that's essentially how this works. This just means, right, there's a bunch of orders like within a couple ticks, right? There's a bunch of orders here, a bunch of orders here. So within just a couple ticks, there's a lot of orders, which is what makes it strong. But then again, if you're thinking equally, well, then that means there's orders that are accumulated at the same exact point in price at different times, which makes that even stronger. So let me see if I can find an example for you guys. Got like the 5-minute here. So like this wouldn't really be an example, because notice how much of like a difference this is, right? It's a pretty big difference in price. You want something that's almost exact, but not just there. This might take me a little bit to find. And again, you want, like, say these are the candle wicks. You would want the candle wick to be closer to the inside. You don't want it to be vice versa, right? You want it to be inside. To make it relative, you do not want it to see like this. Like this would not be relative equal lows or equal highs, right? You'd want the candle on the inside to be the shorter one and the longer one on the outside to make this relative, or else this is honestly just a liquidity sweep and this is not really relative equal lows, if that makes sense. It's fine. Okay, like boom, right here. This would be a good example. I mean, it's not, you'd ideally want them a little bit closer, but notice it's a good amount of candles right next to each other. This is a 5-minute chart. And what do we see price does? Well, in this candle alone, it takes out this low, and it takes out this low all together, creating the relative equal lows, and that gets taken out pretty fast. Another example, let's see if we can find one. This would be a good example, right? I mean, they're not, again, you want them a little bit closer to each other, and this is the 5-minute again, so keep that in mind. But notice this probably gets taken out. Oh, no, it does not. This probably will get taken out eventually, though. Okay, boom. Well, that's not really a good one. That's not like the good example that I was talking about. These were probably equal lows if I had to assume. Those did not get taken out. Let's see. Nope. So yeah, that's a perfect example of relative equal lows, right? Look how close it is. It's not just equal. It's by two ticks. They're not equal. But that's a perfect example of equal lows. Again, vice versa, put that on the upside, and that's the same exact thing. This is a great target. Obviously, we saw price did not ever retrace to that. But again, if price is acting hard towards those lows, that's a great target for you. Let's see if we can find like a highs example, maybe. I want to find one example of the highs. So as you see, like these type of equal lows, they pop up all the time, right? The one where the inside is higher. Those you do not want. Yes, they're relative, but again, if price has already taken out the highs on this side, then that means the orders have already been taken out, and now it's just a new wick of liquidity, so it's not as valid. I want to find a good example. All right, this would be a good example. This is like relative equal highs on 3 levels, right? We have an example here, and we have an example right here, right? Notice how these equal highs. What happens to the tick? The one on the inside gets taken. That's why I recommend targeting the inside one. And then, as you see, it creates more equal highs. And what happens? Price absolutely smashes through that, or relative equal highs, and price absolutely just smashes through that target. This would be another example, right? Look at this, relative equal highs. What do we see happens? Boom, absolutely smashes through this trade. So that's basically relative equal highs and lows. And the way I use them is if I don't have any targets for the day, but I have equal highs or lows that are appearing, then I'm just going to go ahead and try and target those for the day and see how price reacts towards those equal highs or lows, or relative equal highs and lows. With that being said, do you guys have any questions on that? As I said, this will be a quick class, but I think this is a great concept for you guys to start looking for and start trying to trade towards. Nope. Alright, boys, well, that'll be the class. It's a fast one, but we are slowly moving through. I think we only have about, let's see, we've got about 1 full week left after this. I'm going to try and think of any more things that I could teach you guys, but genuinely, we are coming towards the end, and I don't really have much more to give you guys. But with that being said, I will see you guys tomorrow morning. I got a question. Oh, yeah, go ahead, just ask the question. We can answer it. What you got, Max? Oh, yep. Uh-huh. The entry, I can show you guys. I literally was just going crazy on evals today. As you see, failed that eval, passed this eval. I mean, literally, dude, the way I trade evals, if we have a super volatile day like we did today, and plus the 90% with Apex, I bought like 10 Apex evals and passed 4 of them. So, like, I mean, I wouldn't say these are any of, like, I would not be taking a lot of these entries on a funded account. I kind of just, wherever the market's going, I'm just entering. That's just kind of how I full port evals, to be honest. Like, these are, don't worry, these are not trades I would take in, like, real time. As you see, literally within the same candle, I entered, like, immediately after that. Passed this eval, literally within the same candle, passed that eval. You're going to see all these executions like right next to each other. Pass this eval again within the same candle. Oh, that's also the 1 minute or the 5 minute. But yeah, look, like that's like a bottom tick almost. Then failed that eval, failed that eval, failed that eval, and passed it eval. So I went 4 for 6 on evals, which is still pretty good in my opinion. Yeah, they're just random entries. It's just kind of catching momentum of the market. Yeah, dude, my trade this morning, it was low-key kind of sad, man, because I kind of just got screwed over. Like, look at this. Entered right here at the close, and literally to, like, a couple ticks was stopped out, and it ran without me. It was really sad, honestly. Yeah. It is what it is. I entered off a 2-minute confluence. I could have waited for the 4-minute, which I should have. I was waiting on this 2-minute gap to get inversed for, like, it was literally like 30 minutes, and it finally got inversed, and as soon as it got inversed, absolutely tanked, took me out. and then pushed. But there was this 4-minute gap that I should have waited to get inverse instead. As you see, as soon as we inversed it, I could have gotten basically the same exact entry, and it ran with me or without me after the 4-minute inverse, which kind of sucked, but just is what it is. That's just how Bryce can be sometimes, you know. But yeah, that was painful to watch. I can't lie. That was painful. Yeah, no, I'll be back in tomorrow, so I don't ever worry about loses or losses. That's what it is. And plus, I'm coming tomorrow now with 4 more accounts that I had yesterday, or today, so it's all good. I think I'm at 11 accounts now, which is pretty nice. All right, boys. Well, that'll be it. I will catch you guys tomorrow, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Do this, everyone.